What's going on, guys? Pepperbella here, bringing you some more Chivalry Medieval Warfare, and I want to cover a topic basically relating to the Xbox 360 controller and its current state of support in the game, and basically my opinions on it. And I'm going to try to give a little bit of what I believe can be done to alter it for a better experience overall. So let's just dive into it right now. So this gameplay is actually recorded using an Xbox 360 controller. You can probably tell just by the fact that it's a lot more difficult for me to just swing around and do a lot faster strikes on someone. It's a lot slower pace than it is with a mouse and keyboard, which is to be expected because it is an Xbox 360 controller. Another thing to note is that you can't do like taunts or any kind of emote related thing in this game. Battle cries work, and that's like the control for that by default is left on the D-pad. And crouching to me in this is kind of weird because it's done by using the up and down keys on the D-pad. So I'm basically just going to go ahead and give you basically an in-depth thought of like what should be done to kind of alter this. And I personally believe that they should actually incorporate an actual support system for the game. So right now it's currently in basically plug and play, which it supports it, but it's a very default set to the controls right now. They do have... You can go into the ini files actually and, you know, customize the controls to your liking, but that's kind of a little bit for those that aren't, especially for those that want to, you know, play with a controller, that's kind of a little bit too much work for them to go out and do that. And you can see right here, this is one of the things I wanted to bring up, which is switching weapons by using the Y button, which is default on the Xbox 360 controller. You can tell it just glitches out your weapons, as you can see right now, and I'm freaking running in a fury of sword parrying, blazing at people. And it seems to also be like an invincible parry. Like, I tried it out to see what people can do, and it seems like no matter what, they can't get through it because it's like a consistent, never-ending parry, and there's nothing they can do about it. So I have, for the rest of the duration of the video, used my keyboard to switch weapons, but basically played with the controller. That way I can avoid this issue, which kind of seems like it's a very easy way to cheat. But at the same time, it's incredibly frustrating because the shield's like backwards, as you can see. Everything's just all messed up, and definitely not the way it's supposed to be played, obviously. So a thing I would like to see them do is actually have in-game option support, similar to that with like what Witcher 2 did, or Deus Ex, where basically if you plug in a 360 controller or you have a wireless receiver and you turn on your 360 controller, it'll immediately be recognized by the game, and you can go into the options, and there'll actually be a new option available for the controls from a keyboard and mouse to an Xbox 360 controller, and actually be able to customize the controls to your liking, which would be significantly better. Also being able to toggle sprinting, because it's incredibly annoying. For console gamers, they can tell it's a pain in the ass when you have to click and hold down the sprint button on the left analog stick. You kind of feel like you're forcing it, and like if you keep doing that for a very long time, you're gonna wear out the stick. That's how to me, that's how I feel when I personally have to hold it down, because it's like I'm applying too much pressure at it all the time. So for controllers, it'd be kind of nice, even for those that just like to have a toggle sprint, kind of like what Homefront does in Call of Duty on PC. Just you click the shift key and then you sprint until you stop, and then you have to click it again to reinitiate the sprint while you're moving. Same thing can be done with the 360 controller. Just ease that, you know, the comfort of how you feel when you're playing the game with the controller. And also being able to allow you to alter your look sensitivity, which you can also do in the ini files according to some people, but being able to do it in the game would be significantly better. Now, I'm not entirely sure what Torn Banner is planning on doing with the 360 controller, like for full support and whatnot, because I haven't really seen any topics on that. So basically, it just seems that they're going to be leaving it the way it is, but then again, this is beta, and they're obviously going to incorporate some better features when the full release of the game comes out. And hopefully gaming controllers will be better, because with the rise of the Steam big screen beta that's going on right now, where people basically want to play on a higher definition TV, well, that doesn't really sound right, on a high def TV, you know, compared to like a small monitor. You know, I can picture people saying it'd be really cool to just hook this up to 7.1 surround sound, have it on a massive screen, 50-inch TV, and just sit back on a couch with a controller and play Chivalry, because it has that image that it's like, it would be something really cool to experience in a very movie-like fashion, which is pretty much what the developers were going for anyway. They wanted to incorporate that feeling that you were part of a movie. All your favorite movies that you enjoy watching, they want to give you the same feeling, a general and packed pump up feeling you get when you play those games, or when you watch those movies, and they wanted to incorporate it into this game. So it feels the same. You can get that warrior spirit feeling that you always wanted to experience, but obviously couldn't because, well, it's very obsolete now. I don't think people are going to be running around with swords when we have like high-powered weapons and ridiculous shit that are available now. So it's really interesting what they've done with this game. Look at that decapitation right on. And I personally think that it's going to be something that needs to be worked on in the future. Is definitely the controller support, just because they have it available. So to me, if you're going to support something, support it. No half-assery, no like, I'm going to allow it to work and function, but I'm not going to properly support it. If you're going to support controller, you know, to have 360 controllers, integrate an actual interface to be able to, you know, customize and do what you want with your Xbox 360 controller. Same with what is with the PC right now. And I know that they're talking about keyboard and mouses. The keybind issues, apparently people are having problems with that. I haven't had any problems with keybind issues myself, but some people have complained that, you know, there's a few glitches and issues, and they're hoping that they'll fix it. And by release, I'm sure they will, because there's going to be a new patch coming out sometime shortly. I'm not entirely sure when exactly, but I know that they're trying to roll out as many patches as they can. And by release, I'm pretty sure definitely a lot of things will be fixed. And if there are any issues left behind, then it's something that they can just work on afterwards, because even the state the game is in right now, it's still more polished than a lot of games that are released. So a lot of games that are released are still buggy to shit, and this game actually it's pretty polished. Obviously there's some issues with lag, server-side issues. There's a couple of issues where your weapon will ghost through people, and that's happened to me multiple times. And I've had the pleasure of it happening to my enemies because they can't hit me, and I just go in there and kill them. So that's another issue. It's basically when your weapon just doesn't have any effect. Like, you'll see it going through the person, but your weapon just doesn't do anything. It's like a hologram. It just doesn't do any damage, and nothing happens when you swing at someone. Even parrying doesn't work. Nothing works, and it sucks because there's nothing you can really do about it. Now, if they were to go to the default route of having controller schemes, what they have with the triggers going on right now is excellent. So they have it's the right trigger to swing for the slashing. The left bumper is to do a stab, and then the right bumper is actually to do an overhead. And then, of course, left trigger is to block or parry, which feels a lot like Skyrim if you were to play it on an Xbox 360, except for the additional two analogs, or the two bumper buttons, which basically allow you to have a little bit more advanced melee compared to Elder Scrolls, Skyrim, or Oblivion, or whatever. So that, to me, is perfectly like fine the way it is. And for those of you guys that actually probably have the Razer, like their controllers, their tournament editions or whatever, and they have those extra bumpers, that would just benefit even more, because you'd be able to actually bind, if they included specific, you know, like the actual interface to support the controller, you'd actually be able to bind additional features to those bumpers to make things easier. Like, to me, I would probably bind sprint to like the top left bumper to be kind of like Rainbow Six Vegas or some of those other games where you just basically sprint using the bumper instead of having to click down on the stick like I mentioned before, unless they add a toggle option. But if they're not going to do that and just have default schemes, this is what I'm saying. They should probably do something like that. It'd be kind of cool. A lot easier on the controller and a lot more comfortable to use. Definitely change crouching to another button. Like, to me, I don't see why not having B or the right stick, but the right stick and being able to translate, you know, be able to have like because the right stick right now, when you click it down, it does the kick until you kick someone in the face. So it's kind of like the melee button, right? So if you actually be able to switch that to have like a tactical thing, like what Call of Duty and Battlefield does, where you basically click the right stick and you crouch, or click the right stick and you kick, and you can switch that with B, because I don't know exactly what B does right now. I haven't actually really seen anything, because I never really use it. The only real controls I use is X, which is basically to interact with the environment around you. A is obviously to jump, and then B, I don't really know. I haven't actually seen what it done yet. Maybe it zooms in. I have no idea. But and then you want to turn off your crosshair. You press right on the D-pad. Left on the D-pad is to, of course, do a battle cry, and then crouching is pretty much pressing down the D-pad. And if you want to stand back, you want to press up, which is kind of weird in my opinion, because I mean, if you want to dodge someone in a fight doing that, you have to like take your thumb off of the movement in order to do that, and it just becomes a huge hassle trying to effectively dodge by ducking while using the controller. It's not going to work, because I mean, they're going to just, you're too slow. You're going to have to stop moving, which they can just easily get around you and then realize that you're not moving anymore. They can just dive in on top of you and stab you in the face, and then you're pretty much done. So that's pretty much my opinions on this. If you guys want to hear more, I can give a little bit more details on the controllers if you guys want. And I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please remember to rate the video, comment the video, and subscribe if you want to see more in the future. Take care, guys.